Alright guys, on this one I'm going to chat about can your ride still be the show car that it was over a decade later, and also the pain in the A that it takes to detail these so-called show cars, and all the prep work and just the amount of time and hours involved in getting them ready just before that show or before that photo shoot for a magazine or so. So you see here, a couple of years ago, most of you guys would remember that I decided to detail it again and get it ready for its third photo shoot and magazine shoot that this car's had in its time. And you can see from these series of photos there, that's the outcome. And I tell you now, guys, it's a real pain when you got a highly detailed car like this. I mean, it's one of those things where, you got to keep on top of it. Things get dusty, obviously, and there's a lot of alloy and highly polished alloy that you got to keep on top of that dulls off over, a period of time, or at least from the last time you jazzed it up. And yeah, I tell you, it's not pretty and it's not fun. You can see here from these photos, which was basically the other year, it took a solid 40 hours of hand detailing, believe it or not. And I tell you now, that ain't fun. It takes a course of a week to do that. Actually, a bit more. I would say a week and a half. And that's, quite a few hours each day to accomplish that. And this ain't the first time. I mean, in its early days, this car, when it first got built and it got showed around that 2009 to 2010 period, there was a number of shows that this car, copped that many hours of detail per show that it entered and went to. And yeah, it was, in a number of them early shows, it was a first place winner in a number of categories, like first place undercarriage and first place two-door coupe, and first place Aussie muscle car, and things like that. You got first place top engineered as well. So after about a 6 or 7 year layoff from showing it at shows and that, I decided to get back into it and take it out to one of our popular shows that we got down here in 2016. This was now, and I was fortunate enough to meet Chip Foose and be handed awards by Chip Foose, and I've met Jimmy Shine from SoCal and all those people, which is a great honour, I must admit. And even coming out 6 or 7 years later from its first days, I was still the Capri still managed good awards and still managed second place in certain categories, which I found astonishing, going up against new styles and new builds that are out there. And believe me, we got some cool rides down here. Yeah, and funny in saying that, I mean, it does take a lot of work, to be, to keep on top of a car to this caliber. And it's not, don't get me wrong, it's nothing that I regret or anything like that. It's actually a thing I've always wanted, like a tick off the bucket list type of thing. I've always wanted a highly detailed, show car / street drag car type of thing. So mission accomplished there. And basically from those early days of, its first fresh shows, it went straight to the racetrack, no holds barred, and basically, did well, with that little street blower. It basically ran 940 at 148 on its street tune. That's the way I drive it. And with the pulley swap, it went 9.1 at 151 mile an hour, basically on its second and third meeting after that. And tight converter prevailed us from any better ET, and everyone knows that a tight converter, it can pull down the motor upon launch. and we were basically just forced to either take off from idle or, no more than 3,500 RPM. And it's a 5,500 lockup converter, which would have been great to have launched at those RPMs. And, there's no doubt that it would have, gotten that high 8-second pass off the bat. It does run a 2-speed glide with the taller first gear, and also runs a 389 rear gear set on a 28-inch tyre. Bottom line, what I'm trying to get at is, yes, it's a lot of work, to own a highly detailed show street car like this. And I just wanted to mention that. Also, the entire build management, control, direction and design was all me, designed by me and things like that, controlled by me. And the total, obviously, things I sourced out, obviously, like I've chosen who, the chassis guy is to work on it, who the engine builder is, and who the, body and paint restoration guy is going to do it. But yeah, other than that, I did still have involvement in those things, and also the total assembly of the vehicle is done by me. I don't get no one else to do that stuff. I do all that, always have, always will. And to a good conclusion, everything was sweet. He did what it wanted to, do, and all that stuff, and I'm happy with it. But can an old, show car sort of thing still remain a show car? I guess what I'm trying to get at, and it possibly can. You got to keep on top of it, always, keep it, polished and waxed, and, and all those things, and keep it indoors and keep it covered. And so far, the whole thing's close to 15 years old since it, got assembled and, painted and fired up. So I'm pretty happy with that. And, it's one of those deals, when you first restore a car, you say to yourself, I'm restoring it because I want it to last me another 20 years. Well, I'm almost knocking on that, and it's hard to believe. Like 15 years of that have gone by, and I'm still, I'm happy with everything. The body and the paint and all that's held up. Everything else is held up, and yeah, it's just the way you take care of it. That's all it is. If you just leave it and you forget about it and don't keep on top of it, things will dull off to a point where you can't bring them back. So. And this car's pretty tricky. It's got a lot of chrome. It's got a lot of ceramic coat detail. It's got a lot of, billet and just normal alloy polished bits and pieces around the whole lot. And it's a 3-process deal. What I mean by that is, you use a special treatment where you can spray and wipe the dust off without, leaving any swirl or score marks in that product, in that material. And then what you do is, after you use that product, you use a polish product to bring up the luster. And then after that product, you spray or, you apply protection coat, which will be, some type of a wax of some sort. And that preserves it. So the detail you've just given it, you give it that last bit of preservation, and that will keep it going for the next year or the next, 6 months or the next year and a half, let's say, before you do it all over again. And that's the key to these things. That's what I'm trying to get at. You got to keep on top of it, and then you always sort of keep that, that show look and shine and luster. Oh, yeah, I understand. It's never going to pop and bling the way it was when it's first built and first released. But yeah, you can still keep it up there. That's what I'm trying to get at. But it comes with a lot of hard work and pain, I tell you that.